Boom! What's going on, everyone? It is Steve Larsen. I'm super excited and welcome back to the One Funnel Away Challenge. Yesterday, I left you guys off with quite an awesome hook. I told you guys I was going to give you guys the reason that sales happen. And the whole idea behind this is that you guys understand. Wait, let me take my shoes off. Now we can start. The whole reason that products sell is not because of the product, right? And that's where we left off. And so today what you're going to go through is you're going in and you're listening to Brandon and Kayla, specifically Kaylin Poulin. She's going in and the whole title is She Did It So You Can As Well, right? And you're going to go in and watch that presentation. What I want you guys to do is I want you to understand why the sale happens in the first place though, right? This is very key to understand. And you need to know why the whole thing goes down. And the reason why, again, that I was stoked to see that this was happening is because for years, I was so focused on believing that it was the product that was making it, that was basically keeping me broke. Meaning, right, I was walking around, I was like, what product should I sell? And some of you guys might be in the scenario now, right? And we were broke, we had nothing, right? We were living on student loans at the time, and I was studying all these marketing principles, and I was learning funnels, and I was like, why am I still, I was riding my bike home one day, okay? Because we didn't have money for another car. I was riding my bike to our little apartment, and I was going back home, and it was a little cool out. It was a nice day though, and I remember very vividly getting mad at myself. And I talked to myself a lot, okay? And I was like, why can't I make money? I was like, why isn't this game working? I know what I do in that guy's scenario. I know what I do in that guy's scenario. I know what I do over there. I know what I do over here. And it was frustrating, guys. It was very, very, very frustrating for me because I felt like I knew all this stuff, but my wallet was still super thin. And I was like, why isn't it happening for me, right? And at that time, I was still in like this massive identity crisis, right? My self-esteem was crazy low. I felt like everyone was constantly asking me stupid questions that were just making me feel worse about myself. Oh, is this the next business, Steven? Oh, is this the one? Oh, hey, you gonna take me out to lunch? Like crap like that. I'd be like, shut up, you know. I'd be like, come on, I'm still working on it. I'm still trying to figure this game out, right? And but you know, I wanted to feel like, and some of you guys are agreeing with that right now, right? I see that, and I get that, and that's hard, and people will do that to you. You just got to learn to just pat them on the head and say, you small-minded person, I love you, and walk away. And right, and that's kind of it, right? So I remember riding that bike home, and I had that thought, and right there, I had the realization, dude, do you know the difference between marketing and selling? And until that moment happened, no, I didn't. I thought marketing and selling were the exact same thing. Now, this is not the answer as to why things sell, but it will lead in to help you understand the very huge difference, right? Huge difference. Joe Polish teaches, one of my favorite quotes from him, he said, there is no relationship between being good and getting paid. There's some heat behind that quote. There is no relationship between being good and getting paid, right? And the first time I saw that, it like hit me across the jaw, and I was like, oh my gosh. Wait a second, but my product is supposed to be the best product. It should over-deliver. Yeah, but that's not what gets you paid. Right? So here's the rest of the quote, right? There's no relationship between being good and getting paid. However, there is a huge relationship between being good at marketing and getting paid. Okay? This is a big realization for people the first time they understand it. The sale is not about the product, right? There's a huge relationship between marketing and getting paid, right? And I've gone through many times and defined for you marketing so that you are able to understand and see what that is. Marketing has nothing to do with a freaking Facebook ad. It can be part of it. It's not marketing though, okay, at the core of it. Just like I was talking about yesterday, right? You can have a hot dog stand without relish. You can have a hot dog stand without a bun. You can't have it without a hot dog. Hey, when we get down to the core of what really marketing actually is, marketing is the act of changing somebody's beliefs, okay? That's it, with the intent and hope for a purchase to happen. That's my own definition, but that's basically what it is, right? And when I learned the difference between that, marketing changes beliefs. Sales is when you present the offer. Closing is a bunch of logical reasons to act now. They are three very different activities, but they all work together. And understanding the difference is a major, major, major catalyst in you becoming a successful funnel builder, okay, and actually getting this thing out the door. Okay, do not be duped into believing that you need a freaking logo or I don't have a slogan yet, and that's the reason they didn't buy from me. Garbage. That's not true, okay? That's not true at all, okay? Okay, I want to tell you guys a story real quick here. I want to tell you guys a story here, okay? Especially as we go through and as I start to describe to you where the sale actually happens. Okay, there's a few things that you need to understand about this. Okay, okay. You guys know my story, right? I told you guys my story, and crap really was hitting the fan, especially like my second or third year into really trying to make a business. And some of you guys are likely in that same scenario, and you got a lot of crap against you, and people are pushing against you hard, and they're just like, right, and you're learning about you because you're in places you've never been, right? And you're learning what your personal character flaws are because you're in places you've never been. You're learning about what your weaknesses are. You're learning where your strengths are. You're learning how much you don't know, right? And it can be daunting and be freaking, like, super, super scary, right? I remember when I went and I figured out, I was figuring out basically how to not sell. I mean, I think I was on my 6th business try. I was 3 years into the game. And this one time, my wife and I were on a date by going to the dollar menu at McDonald's, and stuff was getting pretty serious. Okay, stuff was getting real serious for us. I was pretty tired of living, just anyway. It got really hard, and I went and took my wife on a date to McDonald's. For the dollar menu, okay, and we sat there and we talked for a little while, and we're loving and it was fun and we were together. We're just happy to be together, okay. That obviously is not what makes a good date. It's not dependent on how much money you can spend, obviously, when you're with someone that you love. But a lot of my pride was hanged up in this idea that was not happening, right? And she looked at me in that restaurant. And she said, hey, I want to support you. I love you. She said, I understand what you're trying to do and that you started kind of this new thing. Is this the one, though? Right? That's like the dreaded question in the entrepreneurial game when you haven't really figured out all the pieces that make it work yet. Is this the one? You trying this again, Stephen? Right? And I get it. It's a fair question. And she goes, is this the one? And I said, oh yeah, what's up? And I was trying to act like the man, right? Ain't nothing but a thing, babe. We got this thing, right? Oh my gosh, right? Is this the one? Is this the one that's gonna work? Is this the one that's gonna kill it? Is this the one? And they need it because of their own emotional security. They need it because you've been so away all the time. They need it, right? Fascinating, right? And it was challenging. Okay, for me to answer that question forwardly and honestly, trying to maintain a vision of hope, but also a complete, true sense of the reality that we were in, which was very crappy. And, that's how I answered her. I said, oh yeah, ain't nothing but a thing. I'm trying to act all tough. I'm the man. I'm your man, right? And that's kind of how I was. I'm your man. Don't worry about it, babe. Yeah, don't worry. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, babe. The next question we got to answer is, what island will we buy? This is amazing. That's coming up, baby. Right? Woo. And like on the inside, though, I was freaking out. I was like, I don't know if this is the one that's gonna work. Okay, I don't know. Right? None of the stuff that you guys are learning right now was around. Okay, I so envy the fact that you're going through this. Okay? I went freaking years and almost a dozen businesses before one of them worked. Before I started learning this stuff, and what you guys are all going through. And so I'm jealous of that. Okay, I'm envious of the epiphanies you will have and the speed at which you're having them, okay? It took me forever to figure this stuff out, okay? And so I'm sitting across, and she asked that question, and I say, yeah, ain't nothing but a thing, and really I'm freaking out. And I remember one day, shortly after that, it's like straight out of a Hollywood movie, right? I get out of classes. I'm still in college, and this is the only thing that's on my mind, right? How do I make it work? 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 And cliche-ly, straight from a Hollywood movie, it's raining a little bit, and I'm walking back home, okay? I'm walking back, and as I'm walking, I look up and I see this guy off in the distance, okay? And there was like a bus stop, okay? It was a while off, and he was at this bus stop, and the dude, it was an older guy, and you could just tell the man was just wearing wealth, right? Just from head to toe, he was wearing wealth. Not to show it off, you could easily tell he's an older gentleman, He was the kind of guy that made the fedora look good when you wear it, right? He had a fedora on, looked really nice, very nice suit. I could just tell. I wasn't that far off, but I was pretty far off. His watch was worth more than everything that I had ever had in my bank account cumulatively, right? Ever in my entire life, and I could just see the man was extremely wealthy. And anyways, he was sitting at a bench and he was reading. He had this fedora on, and as I'm walking at kind of like a slow pace, I was thinking, right? And as I was sitting there and I was looking, this limo pulls up. Okay, this limousine pulls up. This whole scene unravels in front of me, and clichely again, the rain like stopped. Okay, anyway, a little bit of blue sky started parting, and this limo pulls up, and this guy with unnaturally amazing posture gets out. Right, he's the driver. This driver, and he gets out, and he's walking around. He walks around to the front, and you could tell the two knew each other, long-term relationship, right, that they've had for a long time. And the driver goes over to the back of the limo, and he opens up the door, and he does this little half bow, right? This little half bow, and he just looks up at the man on the bench, and they smile, just super gently, very nice at each other, and it was very warm. And I could see all this. It was unraveling in front of my eyes as I'm getting closer and closer to where he was sitting, and I'm watching all this. The man takes his time, folds up what he was reading, and he goes and he gets in. They exchange words for a second. He goes and he gets in the limo, and the driver goes to start closing the door. And I had this impulse in me to run. Okay? Clearly this dude knew something I was not getting. Okay? If all these other people were being successful with supplements or e-com or infos or business or coaching or consulting or B2B or retail, right? All these areas, and they were being successful, but I wasn't. I was the variable. Does that make sense? And I clearly was understanding that by that time. I was the problem, not the business opportunity, not the, I don't know what funnels were at the time, but like not the funnel, not the product, right? I was the problem. I was the issue, right? And I was clearly beginning to understand that at that time. And so when I stood up, when that guy stood up, he got in the limo, the guy starts to close the door, I had the impulse to run, and I ran. And the guy went, and he started closing the door, and I put my hand in the door. I was like, I was like, hey, what's going on? This is weird. Don't worry, I'm not here to like rob you or anything. I got a question. Okay? I said, I got a question. I'm sure you get asked this all the time. And I'm sorry to stop you. I know you're going somewhere, but I've been trying to make this work for a really, really long time. And relatively, it was like 3 years of running hard, but so much had already been at stake, and I was losing steam. Okay? And anyway, I was like, I've been trying this for a really long time, and I can see you're obviously very successful. I just have to know what you did. And the gentleman kind of looked up at me and relaxed once he saw I wasn't there to like hurt him, right? And he looked up at me and he goes, yeah, I get asked that question a lot. And I said, how did you do it? And he goes, well, honestly, like 20 years ago, I was like, you look, right? I was like, how you look like you're living right now. I was running around, I was all over the place, and I wasn't making it. All I did is, there's a guy that handed me a book, and I had to read the book 20 minutes a day and then apply what I was reading 40 minutes a day. And he said, that's what I did, and 2 years later, I did not recognize my life. I was like, well, what book is it? I was like, tell me, man, I will do, like, you know what I mean? I'm already in a crazy scenario that's not normal, right? And I'm like, what's the book? And he smiled, right? And again, the guy's just dripping with wealth. You could just tell. But it was cool. He's humble about it at the same time. He's approachable. It was really neat. Probably because I ran at him. And anyway, so I ran at him. And anyway, so he said that. And he handed me this book. Okay? He handed me this book. And he said, if you will read this book every single day for 20 minutes and then spend 40 minutes applying what you've read every day for the rest of your life. You will not recognize your life in 2 years. And the man, he closed the door and then drove away, and I never saw him again. This is the book. That was 4 years ago. Is that crazy? This is the book. And since then, when I've reached out to him, I've said, hey, check this out. I have done this with this. I've done that, right? And that's what I did. I dedicated myself to reading 20 minutes a day. I applied it for 40 minutes a day. I sacrificed everything else in my life to make sure I was doing that. And I just did what the guy said to do. And I followed exactly what he said. And what was interesting is I've been in close contact with him, with that man, ever since then. And since then, I've gone in and spoken, right, Michael Porter, the author of the book, and he's letting me do something kind of cool. And I've talked with Russell about it, and we're excited to do this as well. That man, I'm not going to tell you his name, and then Michael Porter as well, he wants to be doing more events. And so what we decided to do is give you guys a copy of this book, which is our gift to you. So you guys are all going to get a copy of this book. We're also going to give you, I hate reading. It takes a long time because my brain reads one sentence and then my head goes all over the place, and you guys likely are the exact same. And so what we're going to do is we're going to give you guys this book. We're going to give you guys the book, and then we also have the audiobook version of it, though, as well, for those of you guys who are like me, and you know what I mean? Like, anyway, it takes me like 2 months to read a book because I read it, and I'm like, that's a good line, and that's like this, and like this, and like this, and like this, and I get super excited about it, right? And so we're giving you guys the physical book. We give you guys the actual audiobook that comes with it. If you're like me also, what we decided to do is, guys, sometimes when I go through and I read stuff, I get so stoked about what's in the end of the book, I forgot what happened at the beginning, which I intended to do. So what we've done is we've created an outline, a bullet point checklist outline throughout the entire book, so that you guys can go back and really fast see what the book is also about. The other thing that we're going to do is we decided knowledge is nothing without power, right? Knowledge is not power, right? Using knowledge is power. And so what we're going to go do is we actually, this is actually something my own team did, is we created a checklist version of the book so that you know what to do to apply the book itself, right? Is that anyway, kind of cool, right? I'm excited about this. Is that kind of neat if I, hopefully this is kind of, if I shift gears a little and tell you guys about this, I'm excited to go run through this a little bit. So anyway, what's cool about the book, though, is, application without, knowledge without application is nothing. So what we decided to do is we decided to run like a 2-day live event with only like the first 100 of you who decide to jump in and actually grab this thing. And it's because the author himself agreed to come and help in 6 months actually use the book and help you guys actually do this. Isn't that crazy? So, okay, so this is what's going to happen. Here's what you get. We're going to give you guys the book. The book's free. But we'll give you guys the book, the audiobook, the checklist on how to actually go through and apply it, the bullet point outline to make sure that you guys know what all the pieces are. And then the first 100 of you guys, we're actually inviting you to a free event for 2 days. It's in 6 months, so you guys have time to actually consume the book and go through it. Okay. So, anyways, what we're going to go do is we're going to actually drop in the link. If we could drop in the link right now, Shane, I know you're watching right now. That would be awesome. Pause for effect. I'm just looking at all the comments. That was fake! Oh my gosh, that was fake! That was all fake! The story? I've never read that book! It's a random one off my shelf! How many of you actually went and bought it, though? How many of you went and bought it? Type it. I want to know. Go right over. Let me know. Okay? I have sold maybe 60 copies of that guy's book in the past. I've only told that story a couple times, but some of you guys went and bought it. Okay? The last time I told that story, completely fake story. I've never read the book. There was a stage rush. A dude stood up from the back. Another guy stood up from the front. They ran. A dude stood up. They ran to the front of the room, and they went and they grabbed it. I've never read the freaking book. I don't know what it's about. Okay? I'm doing this to help you understand what sales are. Okay? Do you understand what I'm saying here? You have to understand what I'm saying here. Have I read the book? No. Did I talk about the chapters in the book? No. Did I talk about all the little quotes on the little fancy cute quotes on the back? No. Did I talk about what actually is inside the book? No. Too many of you are so focused on the freaking product, you don't understand what makes the sale happen, although many of you guys just went and bought it. I've never read it. Do you understand? Do you understand this? Okay? How many of you have heard that you need to believe in the product in order to sell it? Yes, that is true. But the formulas you are about to learn in the next month are so powerful, I can sell crap I don't believe in. So many of you guys just went and bought it. Okay? I have sold so many. I've never read the book. I've never read the book. I don't know what's in it. Did I tell you about it? No. What sold it? Go to the side and tell me what sold you. What? Okay, passion, story. Okay, I'm reading this. You, hope, the story. Seen a bunch of story, conviction, right? Passion, right? You made me believe, right? The credibility, okay, 100%, right? Connection, right? Fascinating. Stop obsessing about your product, okay? I'm not telling you to make crappy products. You better make a great product. I'm not telling you not make products that over-deliver. It should over-deliver, okay? You should over-deliver. But this is the key to not competing on price anymore, okay? I don't want to compete on price. You know what I mean, right? When you go to Amazon and it's like someone's selling a pair of socks, somebody else is selling a pair of socks, but for a penny less. I'm not going to play with a freaking margin game anymore. And when you learn how to do this, you don't need to do it either. Okay? It's not about that anymore. You don't have to go compete on price anymore when you learn what we're about to teach you. I'm excited for the challenge to start. Okay? I tell that story. It's completely fake. Okay? I tell that story to make a point. Okay? And a lot of you guys go and you end up purchasing it. I still believe it's real. Right? Isn't that funny? It's funny, isn't it? The first time I told that story, I didn't tell any of the ClickFunnels staff I was telling it, and they were all really confused on why I was selling from stage. And it's a fake story, but if I told anyone it was a fake, it would not have had the same effect. Some of you guys have heard me talk about that in the past. And anyway, I ended up selling a lot of ClickFunnels staff on the book. Some people's books actually showed up. Some people have asked for a refund because they bought it. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You will never forget that I just did this, okay? And it's because I need, so where's the link, right? Isn't that, yeah, it's not funny, is it? It's not funny. I don't care that it is or isn't. That's not the point. None of you will forget that, okay? And it's because I'm trying to help you guys understand where the sale happened. Even though I don't know a freaking thing about that book. I don't know anything about the author. You know what's funny is the second time I told the story, one of the publishers was in the audience of this book. It sold her. She bought the book, okay? It's not about the product. And what I need you to understand is that as we go through, we're going to help you guys create a hook. A hook is the thing that grabs somebody's attention and says, look at me. A story. The story is really the sales script. And when you look at sales scripts as stories, they're easier to create and write. Okay? And then offer. There are some very simple formulas. All I was doing was following it in my head. What was the offer? I was going to give you the book, the audio book, a bullet point out list. I was going to give you a checklist on how to do it. The first 50 of you guys, I was going to let you, or first 100, you guys come to a private event, right? How many of you guys, when you heard that, whoa, where's the link, right? And that's what you guys did, right? It's because I followed the format in my head. It's a freaking pattern. And that's what we're here to teach you guys. And that is what makes you successful in a software like ClickFunnels, not freaking page copying, okay? Okay? The page copying helps when you have hook, story, offer already done. Okay? What we will help you guys do inside of this, the rest of the challenge. Okay? The actual challenge is starting on Monday. Okay? What we will help you do is create and gather and put together the assets needed in order for a successful sales funnel to actually launch. That is what we're doing with you. Okay? But I have to be able to teach you guys what sales is and is not in order to do that. Yeah. That good? Goody gumdrops. Hopefully you guys understand what I'm talking about though. Okay? There's a point inside of the head where the way that you perceive the world just shifted. Some of you guys are still having a hard time believing that's a fake story. It's a fake story. How did I know which stories to tell? Right? There was parts of the story that hooked you guys the most. What were they? Right? Maybe it was the McDonald's story. dollar menu. Why did I put that in there? Because I know that who I'm speaking to, we've all most likely done that, right? I'm joining you where your experiences have ended. And I'm telling that as the beginning of my story. That bridges where you are to where I'm going to begin. It's made up. That never happened, right? Right? How did I know to talk about the fact that it was a book? A lot of us are book readers. We like to dive into these marketing books. That's the reason why the modality was a book, right? How did I know to talk about in the conversation with my wife? Is this the one that's going to work? Because we have all I know you have all had that happen to you, right? And I'm joining you inside of the current experiences that you've had, and that you are literally giving me the story to tell. That's one of the biggest secrets I can hand off to you in this first week. The market will tell you like 80% of what to do to actually sell them. It doesn't come from you. You do not have the creativity in your own head to make $1 million. That is amazing news. It means all I gotta do is teach you guys how to be detectives rather than these creative freaking geniuses that come up with crap on their own. You understand? That's a big deal. Okay? When I first started learning my sales script when I was going door to door, this is a true story. Okay, I want you guys to know that's the only fake story I've told. Right? I was talking to Russell about this, and he was like, "This is a conspiracy." Okay, Russell. I was talking to Russell about this, and he's like, "You got to be careful not to tell too many fake stories. People are not going to believe you anymore." Just know that's the only fake thing I've told you. Okay. Moving on. Okay, here we go. When I was doing door-to-door sales, I was very good my second summer. I was the number 2 sales guy, and when I got out there, I was doing really well. And for the first half of the summer, I was getting 2 to 3 sales a day, which in door-to-door sales was really good. And it was making way more cash than I'd ever seen. And I was like, "This is crazy, babe. Like, I'm your man. What's up?" Right? And what's cool is I was so focused, right? I learned the sales script. And then something happened. Something happened halfway through the summer that just wrecked me. And I went from getting 2 to 3 sales a day to 2 to 3 sales a week. Okay? I'm not talking like a little dip. Like, we almost went broke, right? And I was like, "Holy crap, what happened? What happened?" I was selling pest control. Okay? Here's what happened. I started learning too much about the product. It's not a danger to know lots about the product. It's a danger to tell too much about the product. It's a danger for you to go out and think that the product is what does the sale, and that's what the reason I'm so animated about this is because I freaking lived it, right? And that I've done this personally. And I went in and I started learning so much about the product itself. I started learning the chemical compounds about why it killed ants. Why would I ever need to know that as a sales guy, right? The main owners of the company didn't know that. They didn't even know that. Like, no one knew that. Why was I learning it, right? And I was thinking like, "Oh yeah, it's because that's what makes our product awesome," right? And people were like, "Well, okay, I really like your pest control. Does it kill my wasps?" And I'd be like, "Yes, and here's why. And here's all the pheromones and the chemical compounds of that. And here's why it works. And if it doesn't, we have this other chemical because of that." Like, they don't need to know that garbage, okay? They don't need to know it. Right? And they stopped asking me buying questions because I wouldn't shut up about the other questions I was asking. Some of you guys, and it's the natural progression of an expert. If any of you guys are loving what you do in life, or you have an expertise in an area, and somebody comes up to you and says, "What do you do?" Don't you have a little bit of hesitation on trying to explain how it is or what you really do? Because you're like, "Man, I don't want to go drop in all this garbage on them," because the light in their eyes just start leaving. You know what I mean? It's like they're like, "Oh, you're gonna shut up," like, you know what I mean, right? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Because we end up speaking way too much techno babble, stuff that doesn't matter, stuff that's way further down the road than anyone needs to know. And since you're an expert, right, the threshold to actually create a happy customer was like way back here, but you're teaching like all the way down there, right? And when you're doing sales, to satiate and actually make the sale, you got to go like this far, right? Not that far on what it is that you're teaching and you're doing and you're talking about in your vernacular and the way you speak, okay? The easiest way to protect yourself against barfing on them and giving too much information is literally to just tell a story. That's why we're teaching what we are. That's what I just did. That's what causes the sale, not all the features and freaking chemical compounds. Okay, it was like a few years after that I actually learned that that's the reason why it happened, and it was, oh gosh. Anyway, super frustrating, but such a powerful lesson in my brain. I don't want you guys to make that mistake. Okay. Anyway, guys, I'm super excited about this. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the day. I've been looking forward to today. I was debating on whether or not I should do the fake book story. This is my favorite fake story ever. Okay, sold a lot of books that way, real books, of this one, and someday I'm sure I'll get around to reading it. But hopefully what it did is illustrate the point. Guys, go in and watch the training, download the PDF. I would print it and write it. There's something special about writing. Write the answers physically by hand on that PDF, and super excited. I'll see you guys tomorrow. My plan for tomorrow, just so you guys know, tomorrow's planned as a catch-up day. What I'm going to go do, though, is I'm going to download all the PDFs and fill them out myself in front of you so that you guys have examples on how we would be doing that, right? And that'll be helpful as we move on as well, because I know some of you guys will be like, what the freak is a hook still? I don't get it. And we'll be at the end of that week. So I'm going to be doing the challenges. I thought it'd be cool to do them on Saturdays in front of you so you guys have examples of what we're actually looking for. Okay. Anyways, rock on. You guys are awesome. Thank you. It's been brought to you by the Capitalist Pick and Coke Post.